Hey there, I'm Charlotte, 29 years old, and a marketing exec with big dreams. I've got a supportive husband, Mark, who just walked into the room with that familiar concerned look. Are you sure you've got everything? He asks, brows furrowed. I think so, but you know me. I'll probably realize I forgot something the moment I step on the plane. Mark chuckles and wraps his arms around me, pulling me close. I'm going to miss you, you know. It's only 2 weeks, I say, trying to sound more confident than I feel. This training in New York is a huge opportunity, but leaving Mark alone with his mom nearby, that's what really worries me. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's a text from my best friend, Lisa. Coffee before you leave. Babe, I'm going to grab coffee with Lisa before I go. That okay? I ask. Mark nods. Of course. Tell her I said hi. An hour later, I'm sitting across from Lisa at our favorite cafe, absently stirring my latte. She's eyeing me with that knowing look. Okay, spill. What's got you looking so stressed? This training is amazing for your career. I sigh, slumping into my seat. It's not the training, it's Evelyn. Lisa's eyebrows shoot up. Ah, the mother-in-law from hell. What's she done now? Nothing yet. But you know how she is. I'm worried she'll use this time to get into Mark's head. Last week, he made this snide comment about how a real wife would be home cooking dinner instead of working late. Lisa rolls her eyes. Still stuck in the 1950s, huh? Tell me about it. And Mark, he doesn't always see how manipulative she can be. He loves her. It's hard for him. Hey, Lisa leans forward, her voice firm. Mark loves you. He's not going to let his mom come between you two. I hope you're right, I say, forcing a smile. But Evelyn's loaded, and she's not shy about using that to get her way. I'm worried she'll try to convince Mark I'm not good enough for him while I'm gone. Lisa reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. Here's the plan. I'll keep an eye on things while you're away. If Evelyn pulls any of her usual stunts, I'll let you know. You do that? I ask, my voice cracking. That's what besties are for, she grins. Now enough about the wicked witch of the suburbs. You're going to knock their socks off in New York, right? 3 days later, I'm in my hotel room, feeling on top of the world. The training's been a success, and I've just finished a call with Mark. Everything seems perfect. I'm about to hop in the shower when my phone rings. It's Lisa. Hey, Liz, miss me already? I joke. Charlotte, we need to talk. It's about Mark and Evelyn. The lightness in my voice vanishes. What happened? I stopped by your place to drop off some mail and overheard them arguing. It was bad, really bad. My heart starts pounding. Tell me everything. Evelyn caught Mark doing laundry and lost it. She was screaming about how he's becoming a housewife and threatening to cut him out of her, if he doesn't man up. Mark was trying to calm her down, but my hands are shaking. But what? He wasn't standing up to her. He kept saying things like, Mom, you don't understand, and it's not what you think. It was like he was ashamed of helping around the house. I feel my stomach drop. Did Mark mention any of this when I called earlier? No, he saw me as I was leaving and looked freaked out. He even asked me not to tell you. Anger floods through me. He what? Oh, hell no. I'm coming home. Are you sure? What about the training? Screw the training. I need to deal with this. By the time I land, I'm a mix of hurt, anger, and determination. Memories of Evelyn's jabs echo in my mind. A career woman? How modern. Mark does the cooking. Well, I suppose someone has to. And my least favorite. When are you giving me grandchildren? Or is your job more important? I take a deep breath and open the front door. Mark. I call out. He appears in the hallway, surprised. What are you doing home? We need to talk, I say, dropping my bags. Mark's face falls. Lisa told you, didn't she? Yeah, because apparently my husband wasn't going to. He runs a hand through his hair. Look, it wasn't a big deal. Mom just overreacted a bit. Overreacted? I snap. She threatened to disinherit you for doing laundry. How is that not a big deal? You know how she is, he mumbles, avoiding my eyes. She's just old-fashioned. She didn't mean anything by it. I stare at him in disbelief. Are you seriously defending her right now? After everything she said? Mark sighs. Please, can we not do this? You just got home. I missed you. No, I cut him off, my voice sharp. We're doing this now. I want to know exactly what happened. and I want to know why you tried to hide it from me. Mark starts pacing, running a hand through his hair. I didn't hide anything. I just didn't want to worry you while you were away. I snap. No, you were embarrassed. Embarrassed that your mom caught you acting like a decent husband. Mark flinches. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? I glare at him. Coming home to find out my husband can't stand up to his mother. That he'd rather lie to me than confront her toxic behavior. I didn't lie, he protests. Omission is lying, Mark. God, I can't believe this. Do you agree with her? Do you think it's wrong for you to help around the house? Of course not. His voice is desperate now. I don't know how to handle her sometimes. She's my mom, Em. I feel tears prick at my eyes. And I'm your wife. Or did you forget that while I was gone? The hurt in his eyes almost makes me back down. Almost. Charlotte, please. I love you. You know that. If you love me, I say firmly, he'll tell me everything. Right now. Then we're going to figure out how to deal with your mother, once and for all. The next morning, I make a call. Hey, Jack. I need your help. It's about Evelyn. Oh, he says. What happened? I fill him in, sparing no detail. There's a long pause before he speaks. I've never liked that woman. What do you need me to do? Can you dig into her past? I need to know if this is a pattern. Consider it done. I'll call you when I find something. Later that night, I'm going through Mark's email, looking for clues when I stumble across a message from 2 years ago, a job rejection. My heart sinks. Mark? I confront him. Why didn't he tell me about the job in San Francisco? His face pales. How did you? He stammers. It wasn't important. Not important. It was your dream job, Mark. What happened? He sighs, shoulders slumping. Mom, she said she needed me here, that she was getting older and couldn't manage alone. I feel sick, and you believed her? Mark, she goes on luxury cruises twice a year. I know, he mutters. It sounds stupid now, but at the time. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. It's Jack. Em, you're not going to believe this, he says. I found a pattern, a string of coincidences. Every big opportunity that fell through for Mark, every promotion you missed. Evelyn's fingerprints are all over it. She's been pulling strings for years. I'm reeling when the doorbell rings. Of course it's Evelyn. She sweeps into the kitchen, a Tupperware in hand. Mark, darling, I brought you some of that pot roast you love. I watch from the hallway as she criticizes everything. Really, Mark, the state of this kitchen? If only you had a wife who cared more about her home than her career. Mom, please, Mark says, exasperated. Charlotte works hard. Of course, dear, she says with a sickly sweet smile. But is that really what's best for you? For your future family? I step into the kitchen. Hello, Evelyn. Funny, I don't recall inviting you over. Evelyn freezes, then forces a smile. Charlotte, I didn't realize you were home. Don't you have some important meeting to run off to? Actually, I've been doing some research. About you. Mark looks confused. Em, what's going on? I take a deep breath. Your mother has been manipulating us, Mark. That job in San Francisco. She sabotaged it. And remember when I got passed over for that promotion? Turns out Evelyn had lunch with my boss the week before. Evelyn's face turns crimson. How dare you accuse me? She turns to Mark. Are you going to let her talk to me like this? Mark looks between us, conflicted. Mom, is this true? Of course not. Evelyn's voice shakes. I've only ever wanted what's best for you. I laugh bitterly. Best for us or best for you? You've been using your money and influence to control us. Well, it stops now. Evelyn's eyes well with tears. Sweetheart, you don't believe these lies, do you? After everything I've done for you. Mark takes a deep breath. Mom, I think you should leave. Evelyn gasps. Mark, please. Just go, he says quietly. We'll talk later. As she storms out, slamming the door, I feel a mix of relief and apprehension. Mark turns to me, guilt in his eyes. Em, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I take his hand. I know, but now we do. And we're going to face this together, right? He nods, squeezing my hand. Together. The next morning, I find Mark in the kitchen, staring into his coffee. I sit across from him. We need to talk, I say. He looks up, tired but determined. I know. I reach for his hand. Mark, I love you. But I can't keep living like this, I said, my voice trembling with frustration. Your mother's behavior is toxic, Mark. It's destroying us. He winced, his eyes dropping to the floor. I know it's bad, but... No buts, I interrupted firmly. It's time to make a choice. Either you set clear boundaries with your mother, or, I hesitated, the words heavy on my tongue, or our marriage is over. His head snapped up, eyes wide with shock. Charlotte, you can't mean that. I do, I whispered. I'm sorry, but I do. We can't build a life together if your mother is always there, pulling the strings. Mark was silent for a long moment, his jaw clenched. Finally, he exhaled shakily. You're right. I've been a coward. But it ends now. Relief flitted through me, my shoulders relaxing for the first time in days. So what do? We confront her, he said, resolute. That evening, we invited Evelyn over for dinner. The tension was palpable as we set the table. Mark gave my hand a reassuring squeeze when the doorbell rang. He opened the door with a formal, "Mother." Evelyn breezed in, air kissing his cheek. Darling. Her eyes barely flicked to me. Charlotte. Dinner was as tense as expected. Evelyn's usual backhanded compliments filled the air, each one cutting a little deeper than the last. Finally, Mark cleared his throat, setting down his fork with a clink. Mother, we need to talk. Evelyn raised an eyebrow. Oh, what about, dear? Mark took a deep breath. Your behavior. It's unacceptable. Her smile froze. I beg your pardon. The way you treat Charlotte. The way you try to control our lives. It has to stop. Evelyn laughed, the sound harsh. Control your lives. Don't be ridiculous. I leaned forward, my voice steady. We know what you've done. The job offers you sabotaged. The promotions you interfered with. Evelyn's face turned pale, then flushed red with anger. How dare you? After everything I've done for you, Mark. Everything I've sacrificed. Mark's voice rose. Sacrificed? You haven't sacrificed anything. You've only ever thought about yourself. Evelyn stood trembling. I won't stand for this. Mark, if you continue with this nonsense, I'll cut you off completely. You'll never see a penny of your inheritance. I couldn't help but laugh, a bitter sound. Both Evelyn and Mark turned to me. Go ahead, I said, my eyes locked on hers. Her lips curled in disdain. What? Cut him off, I repeated, calm but firm. We don't need your money. I've been offered an executive position. We'll be just fine without your generosity. Evelyn's eyes narrowed into slits. You ungrateful little. That's enough, Mark interrupted, his voice steel. Mother, this is your last chance. If you want to be part of our lives, you need to respect our choices, our marriage. If you can't do that, then we're done. Evelyn looked between us, sputtering. You can't, you wouldn't. We would, I said firmly. And just so you know, I have evidence of everything you've done. Every interference, every manipulation. I hate for that to become public knowledge. For a moment, I thought she might explode. Instead, she grabbed her purse and stormed towards the door. You'll regret this, she hissed before slamming it behind her. Mark and I stood in stunned silence. Then he turned to me, his eyes filled with a mix of pride and remorse. I can't believe we just did that. I'm so proud of you, and so sorry. For everything. From now on, you and me, we're the priority. 6 months later, life looks completely different. I'm thriving in my new executive role, and Mark has taken on a leadership position at his school. We've had minimal contact with Evelyn. She's made a few half-hearted attempts to reconcile, but it's clear she hasn't really changed. If you were in Charlotte's shoes, would you have given Evelyn a second chance? Or was cutting her off completely the right move? How far should we go to maintain family relationships when they become toxic?